Hengist here from House of Hengist Comics, and welcome back to our Poland in Flames, our sort of version of history, so to speak, where we're trying to replicate some of the battles that were taking place in Poland. Today we're looking at the free city of Danzig and a famous battle there, especially in Polish history, the Battle of the Post Office. Here we can see some black and white photographs which depict the post office, and this was really there were two post offices within Danzig, but this one was the Polish one, effectively like an embassy with sacred ground. And although the Polish army didn't really deploy many troops here, they made a sort of token effort by sending a Lieutenant Konrad Danzig. He was to end up with 57 soldiers, quote, which he basically trained. We've now got a little bit of an aerial flyover with our notorious pilot, who's not particularly good, and we can see obviously we haven't quite got all the buildings right, but I think in terms of a simulation it's pretty damn good. We needed all of our bits out of the box, so to speak, and we've tried to include within this a variety of terrain to replicate the ground. The iron fencing, which we saw in a lot of black and white photographs as well, some built up areas, a little bit of an industrial area where we'll see some communists manifest on a, quote, peaceful march, and basically attacking this sort of area were several SS units, the Heimwehr, Danzig, and Wachsturmbahn E, I believe they were. They were to be supported by an AD-GZ armoured car, which we'll see, and also some 75mm artillery. Here we're in a bit of the square, and we can see here some Poles enjoying refreshment or breakfast, and in the inn perhaps Tintin a little bit later. As we fly over, there's a church on the left with a graveyard. We've tried to include as much detail as we can within these sets as well, without overcrowding it for gameplay, and that's difficult as well. As we turn left, there are narrower lanes. There's a bit more sort of industrial, a garage area, and a bit of lighting. And I think as we swing back over again, we can try and see a little bit of the detail, and importantly we'll come across a Lady of the Night. Now that's a typical encounter point, and a sewer, which is of note. I just thought I'd include some stills as well and discuss a little bit further about fighting in built-up areas and urban conurbations, including the subterranean as well. That's something we're looking to research for Stalingrad. Obviously, lines of sight, randoms. Again, if you speak to many veterans who fought in built-up areas and things like that, it's highly complicated. There's a lot of things going on. Civilians getting in your way. And here's Tintin. He's a big event. And obviously if you choose to ignore them or don't interact or fail, basically, when you do, it can have consequences. Forgive our small D&D board, but this is an experimental phase towards our game about working in the subterranean, and there was a 600 kilo bomb, so that's part of it. Again, if you look around, and what we're trying to do is get people to explore and become interested in the history. We're not trying to do it as an absolute, so to speak. What we're really looking for is people to sort of go away and go, yeah, that was quite interesting, I'd like to learn more about that. And for the defenders as well, they may not be able to do anything because they're in a static position, but we allow them to move and have an influence, basically, in the random events. And this you'll see as we sort of get into the battle now. So what I'd like to start with is basically just to show what's really going on. There are effectively 4 platoons on the table moving forward. The police. This picture here shows the infantry, the SS infantry, supported by pioneers, moving up on the right. On the left, and they are suddenly surprised by, again, an activation of a platoon of rifle armed but sort of Polish people who are uncertain what's going on. But the police, although the Poles don't fire, they then panic. There's a panic test. We make them make a decision very quickly. They decide to open fire, threatening the flank, and the SA basically and the police run them down. The SA then proceed down into the sewers, which was part of their plan to get this 600 kilo bomb underneath the post office working. As the police move forwards, they also get the support of the armoured car, the AD-GZ. And that gives a little bit of metal more to more SS infantry moving forward up the town. However, again, the defenders have placed a block of civilians, basically, as a roadblock. They can't do much other than sort of activate what's going on in the town and try and use that to their tactical advantage. Here we can see some basically defenders on the roof. They happen to come from the Danzig Rifle Club, so that's quite useful. But what then transpires is someone ignores an encounter point, the German infantry. They race up the road, they get ambushed by some undergrounds, sort of Tommy guns and machine guns, who because they were doubling, get cut to pieces. The Germans, in reprisal, see a collaborator, make a roll, decide actually, well, you know what, we're just going to open fire on the civilians. There's fire coming all over the place. They've got to clear the road and they've got to get to the post office. However, it was being filmed by a Russian film cameraman. He's then hunted down because obviously there's a diplomatic sort of incident that could occur with the Russians being allies, and the pioneers and the SA are doing their work down below. In the meantime, the police basically move up into the buildings and see the communists, again under pressure test, decide they look hostile and open fire, and that fire is devastating, catching them enfilade and basically wiping them out. They then decide that they're going to sort of break out into the street and make them press this assault along with the armoured car. Small arms fire comes from the building, covering two men. Again, this is a mad dash special rule where they double out and try and then assault straight away onto the vehicle with an improvised explosive device. However, this is met with a lot of sustained fire. They don't make it even on a 2+ save. They drop and they go down. The armoured car pushes forwards, and the sort of Polish underground come out of the building seeing this and catch them and shoot up the police, but then recall back into the buildings. As the pioneers resurface, having fixed the bomb, they come up once before but ran into the gangsters and then went straight down, and they'd also failed to fix the detonation. They then proceed along with the SA to make pressed attacks, and we get lots and lots of assaults going on against the buildings. At the same point, two single-man teams, one Polish, one Russian, are down there. The Russian got there first. He found the bomb, decided to rechange it so he could effectively blow everyone up, but he was actually leaving the building, was then subsequently shot down. The assaults pour on, lots of defensive fire, but they've only got one light machine gun, and then the Germans overrun it, run straight into the building, and there's a huge explosion. The ultimate thing was there was not a lot of damage done. The Polish basically holding the fort, the postal workers were basically not too badly injured, nor were the Germans, and as was historically to the building. And then what proceeded to happen was a series of unfortunate incidents. They came out with a white flag, they were then shot down, and then the rest of the prisoners were taken away and subsequently executed as terrorists, which is a little bit unfair, let us say the least, if not a war crime, but that's what happened. And Gdansk today is a free place, and Danzig and all of that, but let's never forget what has happened in history. And that's what I want people to be focused on, that through the process of our wargaming comics and our history, we hope to get everyone sort of interested in the lesser known of World War II. So if you like our comics, please do subscribe, support us. If you want to donate, we're not interested in money, but we are interested in any old bits you haven't got a use for, we'll use them. And in the meantime, visit our site, there's loads on it, and I do recommend going through those previous posts. In the meantime, stay tuned, and more coming up from Poland. So happy wargaming, and best wishes. Bye for now.